You probably already know how useful laser distance meters are. In this video, I'll be reviewing two laser distance meters by APEXFORGE tools, the Magic D50 Nano and the Magic D80 Pro Bluetooth models. These were sent to me for review, but this is not a sponsored video and I'm not being paid. They won't even see this review until it goes live. Hi, this is Steve DeMasi and welcome to Uncharted DIY. Laser distance meters are called different names, but we'll keep it simple and call these laser distance meters, or LDMs for short. These meters are incredibly useful tools for the DIYer. They can do things that no tape measure can do. They're amazingly accurate, and they can make quick work of complex jobs. They do the math involved in calculating distance, area, volume, and even perform trigonometry to determine angles and indirect measurements using the Pythagorean theorem. LDMs with Bluetooth, like these, can transfer measurements to a mobile device, allowing you to add notes, create floor plans, and draw on photos that you can instantly share. I'm going to show you what these do and how the two models differ. The manuals that come with these have microscopic fonts, so they fit in the box, but they are available online so you can view them at a reasonable size. This helpful quick reference guide has visuals to remind you of the various modes and buttons, but I found the Pythagorean indirect modes a bit difficult to grasp quickly. Rather than making this video into a feature-length how-to film, I made this video that explains what the various modes actually do and gives some examples of when you might use them. And this video contains helpful tips and tricks for getting the most out of any laser distance meter. Today, I'll explain the features of the D50 Nano and the D80 Pro and why one might be a better fit for you. They both perform simple distance measurements, including real-time continuous measurement, and they calculate area, volume, and 4 different modes of indirect or Pythagorean measurements. The D80 Pro adds real-time angle display to the screen, so you can see if you're shooting level, or use it to measure angles. They share the same accuracy of plus or minus 1/16 or 1.5 millimeters. For most projects, this is plenty precise and more reliable than most people's ability to measure with a tape. Both meters have a calibration mode, so you can adjust plus or minus 9 millimeters for super precise measuring, but mine were spot on accurate right out of the box. Measurements can be displayed in 6 different units and can even be switched after taking the measurement, which is awesome. Very handy for converting units of measurement. The D50 can measure up to 165 feet or 50 meters, while the D80 goes up to 262 feet or 80 meters. They can store and review 100 measurements on board. Using the app, a whopping 10,000 sets of data can be stored. Let's go over the buttons and screen and how to navigate the functions. Then we'll take a look at the app. Speaking of the buttons, I find they're really low contrast and are very difficult to read in most lighting situations. I wish they were printed in the same high visibility green ink found on the measure buttons. The buttons serve multiple purposes, but we'll take a look at the main functions. The big central button with the green arrows turns the meter on and is the measurement button. This button's main function is for choosing the reference point. The reference points are changeable, so the measurement begins at the front of the meter or the rear. The D80 Pro adds a third reference point in the middle, and the body has a 1/4 inch threaded mounting hole, so you can use a monopod or tripod for support. That third reference point helps align the pivot point for greater accuracy when it's mounted. Pressing the function button scrolls through the various modes, and the on-screen icons nicely illustrate what that mode does. This Bluetooth button's main function is to turn the Bluetooth on and off, so you can conserve power if you're not using it. The final button clears measurements and turns the unit off if held for 3 seconds. The meters will shut themselves off after 150 seconds to save power. The screens are large, backlit, and easy to read, though there doesn't seem to be a way to adjust the 15-second timeout for the backlight. I haven't found a way to turn the backlight back on without taking another measurement or touching one of the buttons that change the settings. The screens show a lot of useful information and the icon changes to reflect the current measuring mode. For modes that require more than one measurement to be taken, the icon blinks to indicate the proper order for taking them. Now, let's look at the mobile app. It says it doesn't require any special permissions and doesn't collect any data, which is a big plus to me. It quickly found and connected to both my phone and my tablet once I gave it permission to use Bluetooth devices nearby. When adding your meter to the app, if the meter already has Bluetooth on, turn it off and then back on so it becomes discoverable. If the meter turns itself off after the 150-second power saving feature, I found the Bluetooth connected quickly upon turning the meter back on and pressing reconnect on the mobile device. Under the three-dot menu, you'll find calibration functions. The benchmark set option sets the reference point, but I find calling it by a different name in the app to be unintuitive. With unit, you can change the units of measurement and it changes on the meter too, and it changes existing measurements to the new units as well. You can export a history file as an Excel formatted spreadsheet, but it doesn't appear to transfer the dates or my remarks. Without these, it's just a list of measurements with no way to tell what's what. Settings allows you to change the name of the device and see the serial number and ID. To draw plans, open the project mode. Here you can choose to draw a plan from scratch. Draw a line, then either take a measurement with the meter, choose from one you already took, or input a number. I can't find a way to name any of the dimensions, say to note that it's a window, for instance. You can also take a photo to draw on or use one already in your gallery. I find it frustrating that I can't drag the endpoints of a line if it didn't line up correctly. Instead, I have to undo it and try again. Overall, the app adds some useful features to the meters, but it feels like a beta version and lacks functions that keep it from being great. I also can't find any instructions for using it, so I might be overlooking some details. That said, I find the meters can do so much that I don't feel like I have to connect to the app for most uses. When I first got the D50 Nano, I was impressed with its feature set and design, especially for the price. It's so small, it could be slipped into a pocket or a purse. One thing that perplexed me was where the USB-C charging port was. It's not visible on the body, and the instructions don't show where it is. It turns out it's under this laser warning label, but it doesn't look like something you're supposed to remove. It needs something to indicate that it's hiding under there. As I used this meter, I thought of some things I thought would make it even better for those that use them frequently. The D50 is small enough to carry everywhere, but that also means it's easier to misplace. So a lanyard hole would be helpful. I wished it came with a carrying case or cover. Having an angle finder would be useful, as would the ability to be mounted on a tripod or other support. Then I discovered the D80 Pro version has all these things, and I wondered how APEXFORGE had read my mind. Its larger screen is easier on more mature eyes. It has an additional side button that functions like the main switch, making it easier to hold and operate. It even feels more solid and has a metal base to withstand the rigors of professional use. The tripod mounting hole, lanyard connection hole, side button, reflective card, and carrying case are welcome add-ons for those that have more demanding use scenarios. So, which one is right for you? The D50 has almost all the features of its bigger sibling, the D80 Pro. This would be great for real estate agents, estimating for paint or carpet, construction, and other needs where your measurements are pretty straightforward and you don't use the Pythagorean indirect modes or angle finding features a lot. The larger D80 Pro builds upon the already great D50 with its greater distance capability, faster Pythagorean mode, and the addition of the angle readout. If you plan to use indirect measuring mode more than occasionally, this is a big time saver, and the D80 Pro would be the meter for you. I know we aren't supposed to pick favorites among siblings, but if I had to choose one, I would go with the D80 Pro for my needs. That said, I'm glad I have both these meters since I use them for different purposes. I find I reach for the D80 Pro for using around the shop and for bigger jobs. And because the D50 is so portable, it's handy for quick measurements around the house or for bringing to the hardware store. Either way, you can't go wrong. If you found this video helpful, please give it a like and leave a comment so YouTube will share it with more people. This is Steve, and thanks for watching Uncharted DIY.